Most important, a preamplifier or a power amplifier? Wow, that is a very interesting, hard, loaded question. Amplifier or preamplifier? The reason why it's hard for me to say one or the other is because the Boulder 3010 preamplifier changed my perception of the importance of a preamplifier, how much of an impact a preamplifier makes. The Boulder 3010 transformed my system to levels I never thought were imaginable. I would say both of them are equally important. What's more important, if I'm being honest, is the synergy between both. Because you can go out there and buy the best power amp you can afford, but if your preamplifier is trash, it's not going to sound very good. Vice versa, get out there and buy the best preamplifier you can afford, and if your power amplifier is trash, it's not going to be very good. So I would say it's more about the synergy between both that is key. In my early days, I started with power amplifiers. That was my obsession. Power amplifiers. Some might say that's still my obsession. Power amps. Um, and today I will say that we've come a long way when it comes to power amplifiers. A long way. I dare to say there are more changes being made with power amplifiers than preamplifiers. I feel like preamplifiers have kind of plateaued. They're kind of like not making significant improvements as much as we're seeing with power amplifiers. Here's why with power, why I say this. Think about it. We got Class D amplifiers that are now really making a lot of noise, right? We still got some of those that have like tubes with some stuff inside. I can't remember the model number. So there's all kinds of tricks that are being attempted at, building better power amplifiers. But we're not seeing this innovation with preamps. I feel like with preamps, there hasn't been a significant improvement holistically across the industry with preamplifiers. More so, amps, yes. So, which one is more important? It's really system dependent, but I think the most important thing out of anything is the synergy between both. That's what's more important. Bryston SST2 or SST3? Bryston, let me tell you all about Bryston. My journey with Bryston. Canadian company, 20-year warranty. Assuming you have the receipt, I believe, the original receipt. Transfer warranty, mainly for home theater applications, although some people use it for 2-channel. Okay. Really bulletproof stuff. Bryston is like as Japanese as it gets when it comes to reliability. Really reliable stuff. This is why they give you a 20-year warranty, because they know it doesn't break. You're never going to use that warranty. That said, Bryston to me has been that brand that I used in my early stages, liked it for what it was, but it never blew my mind. Now, it's been a long time since I've heard it. It's been a long time. I've owned the 4B SSD2 and the 4B Cube. 4B Cubed, I had it when it first came out. I was one of the first ones to own it right when it was released, like 5-6 years ago. The differences between both is the SSD2, I find it a little more like a brighter, but more detail. And I find the SSD3 a little warmer. And I think what they were trying to do is perhaps mitigate some of those issues that we're having with some people complaining about the SSD2s being bright. I don't think it was ever bright for me, but I can understand why people would say, hey, it's so bright. I'm looking for an SSD3 because the SSD3 is more analog. I can see that. But if I am going to buy one out of the two, I probably would look for this for like a 14B SSD2 or a 28B SSD2. Why? Because the deals, man, the deals that they can be had for are incredible. You can get a pair of $28,000 Bryston 28B SSD2s for like $7,000. And those amps are like 1,000 watts per channel, solid state, very reliable components. So I would say the SST2 provides a lot more bang for the buck. But if you have the budget, there are great deals with the 4B Cube and the 28B Cube. Always have deals online everywhere. Okay. They are a very good company. Maybe I should think about bringing a Bryson just to play with them and the top of the line 28B Cubes and throw them here with my XVXs and see what kind of results I get. But really, that's my only feedback with this Bryson brand. Pablo, thank you for this question, Pablo. What are my thoughts on Joseph Audio speakers? Jeff Rowland Electronics. Here we go. Jeff Rowland Electronics and Joseph Audio speakers. A lot of narrative, a lot of talking about Jeff Rowland. I see people keep sending me videos of how many conversations are being had online about Jeff Rowland. I've owned Jeff Rowland. I've owned the 925 Class D amplifiers. These were their top of the line amplifiers. They were like 30, 40K. I cannot even remember. I think they were 60K. I think they were $60,000. I've had them. Okay. Very impressive looking stuff. Very pretty. Really good looking equipment. Okay. I also had the 525s, but I've never owned the 625 S2, which is the Class AB amplifier that a lot of folks claim is the best amplifier that Jeff Rowland has ever built. So I cannot give you any feedback with that, but I will give you my feedback on Class D, the Class D amplifiers that he built. Are you all sitting down? Are you guys sitting down right now? Okay, sit down right now. I'm going to tell you what happened. So I had the Rowland 925s in here. Matter of fact, here's a picture. I remember a picture. Here's a picture so you can see it in my room next to the Merrill Audio 118s. Merrill Audio 118s are or were half the price. Class D amplifiers, just like the Rowlands. So I went ahead and did an entire shootout throughout a weekend, like through this long weekend. I remember we had, this is 4 years ago, actually, I would say. And I cannot be this honest here. The Merrill Audio 118s just kill my Rowland 925s. Just kill my Rowland 925s. I wanted to not believe it. I was trying to find a way to make the Rowlands sound better. I was trying to even cheat myself by using more expensive power cords on the Rowlands and more affordable power cords on the Merrill Audios so that the Rowlands would win, because I wanted to keep the Rowlands. They look so pretty to me, so classy, so sexy, right? And I kept going, and the Merrill 118 continued to win day in, day out, regardless of what I did. The Merrill 118 had number one, far better bass than the Rowlands. Far better bass, faster sounding. And number two, a larger sound stage. And number three, far more neutrality than the Rowland 925s had. Okay. Rowland, in my opinion, is a really beautiful product. Great construction, by the way. Beautiful stuff. Made in the USA, but it's very euphonic. Jeff Rowland is euphonic like Luxman. It's euphonic like Constellation. These are brands that are what I call sweet sounding amplifiers. Their job is to put ketchup on everything. Every single meal has ketchup. So every single song will feel the same through a Rowland product. Every single song will sound the same. It has this hint of musicality, glow that is not real. But I think that's a designer's intent. That's what Rowland wants to do. He wants to make his product sound a certain way. He tunes his components to sound that way. Nothing wrong with it. I think he would even admit that. But as I grew, my years grew, I realized that I prefer the neutrality of the Merrill Audio 118s over the Roland 925s. So I would say Roland is good, really well built stuff, but it has a sound. It has a house sound. Okay, really reliable stuff. I never had a problem with Jeff Roland. Always worked day in, day out. Not a single hiccup ever with Jeff Roland. But it has a sound. And if you're a person that looks for neutrality, I will tell you need to look elsewhere. As far as the second part of your question, Joseph Audio speakers. Joseph Audio, I see him at shows. Kudos to Joseph Audio for always getting out to shows and putting his money where his mouth is, essentially. Okay, he's out there setting up his product. He's out there really putting good shows, even in rooms that are subpar. I've seen Jeff Roland speakers in tiny rooms I've seen Joseph Audio speakers, in tiny rooms sound incredible. That I'm like, how did he do that? Speakers are against the wall. My back is against the wall, but I hear no speaker or no cabinets, and they just disappear. He is a magician when it comes to setup. But there is one thing you need to know. Joseph Audio, as good as it sounds, and it sounds really good, two things you need to be aware of. One thing is, notice how at shows, audio shows, where he sets up his own stuff, he's always using cordless cables. There's a reason for that. Joseph Audio speakers can be bright. Cordless helps mitigate some of that brightness because cordless cables are on the warmer side of things. Everyone knows this about cordless cables. So, brightness, careful with that. And then the second thing you need to be aware of with Joseph Audio sounds amazing at shows. I've said it when he sets them up. But if you try to set them up at home, good luck with that. I hear from dealers all the time. Sounds amazing when you set them up right, but the setup process is no joke. It definitely takes a lot of effort to make a Joseph Audio speaker sound good. Now, that's what I've been told. I have never owned it. I'm sharing feedback with you, okay? What's interesting is this feedback seems accurate because I've been to shows where I've seen him with cordless cables, and I've heard from people that he goes into a room and spends like a full day setting up a pair of bookshelf speakers. Like, he is really meticulous about loudspeaker setup, and dealers have told me that, yeah, they're going to sound okay. They're going to sound okay if you throw them into the room and do a couple of things, but you're never going to get to hear that speaker unless you spend quality time setting it up. So if you have the patience for it, go for it. Joseph Audio sounds good, though. I'll tell you, outside of those two things, Joseph Audio definitely has impressed me.